dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It's 6:30. I'm Will Puckett.
And I'm Cassidy Strickland. I hope your day is off to a great start. It's once again off to a pretty chilly start, so you might want to start off with a hot cup of coffee, some hot chocolate, or maybe some tea.
Yeah, I could use some green tea right now. Still getting over my cold that I had last week, but anything to warm me up. It's not going to be as bad as it was yesterday, but it's still a little bit frigid this morning. But only going up from here until we see some rain tomorrow. I'll give all of that to Brandon so he can break it down a little bit better for you. Brandon, good morning.
Good morning, and things are a bit warmer as you mentioned this morning, but still a little bit on the cold side. Let's take a look at the camera network, get you up to date on the current conditions. And you see over McKee this morning, a quiet evening across the mountains. Go to Buffalo Mountain. The moon is out, filtered by just a little bit of cloud cover, but that will be gone here before too long. Temperatures 30 degrees in Wise this morning. They were at below zero yesterday, so that's a pretty big jump in the teens still across parts of the region. Prestonsburg down to 14, and then behind them we've got Ashland, Jackson, and Hazard at 15, and upper teens and low 20s across the rest of the region. You factor in the wind chill, still feels like about 9 degrees in Lexington and Moorhead. Everybody else in the double digits, though, so that's some good news. Across the state, 30 in Paducah as the warm air starts to surge in, 19 Tri-Cities, 14 Cincinnati, and 13 in Charleston, West Virginia. Clouds going bye-bye, heading out the door this morning, and we'll see day planner bring us some warmer temperatures with the sunshine up to 46, maybe even warmer in some areas with that full-blown sunshine a little bit later on. The full forecast is on the way here in just a few minutes.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much, Brandon. Well, a missing Kentucky woman has possibly been found dead in Texas. Officers at the Ennis, Texas Police Department found the body of a woman meeting the description of Emily Wade. Wade has been missing since January 5th. Volunteers found the body in a creek bed that was flooded the night she went missing. The body has been transported to the Dallas County Medical Examiner's office to determine the cause of death and for positive identification.
Now here in Kentucky, House Minority Leader Rodkey Atkins is talking about what he would do for Kentucky if elected governor. Atkins is running on his strong ties to Eastern Kentucky and a belief that there are better days ahead for the Commonwealth, and a feeling he is able to get Republican votes if he makes it past May 21st. He says he has the ability to reach across the aisle and find compromise, but he also says there are some things he will stand firm on.
If it's a policy decision that impacts public education in a negative way, like charter schools, I'm going to be vocal and I'm going to fight back about things that I don't think is good for Kentucky.
Now, this is a small part of a wider issues and answers that aired last night. You can catch the entire version on our website at WYMT.com.
In other gubernatorial news, Kentucky's Secretary of State says she will not be making a run for governor this year. Secretary Allison Lundergan Grimes released a statement yesterday. In her statement, Grimes says she wants to focus on her family. If you recall, she gave birth to a son last month. Grimes says she will not seek any statewide office in 2019, but says she does look forward to returning to public service in the future.
We are now 32 days into the partial government shutdown, and there is still no end in sight. CBS's Mark Liverman reports the 800,000 federal workers affected are set to miss another paycheck this week.
Get it done. The shutdown hopefully will not last long.
That was President Trump on Twitter just hours before the longest government shutdown in history began 1 month ago.
Anything to say about Democrats rejecting their deal?
Yesterday, he ignored questions about the ongoing shutdown at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, but he stayed active on social media, telling Democrats to stop playing games and give America the security it deserves.
We are aghast that he wants this giant 30-foot wall to be the symbol of America.
Democrats have rejected the president's latest proposal. 3 years of legal status for some refugees and immigrants brought here by undocumented parents in exchange for $5.7 billion in wall funding.
He is now holding the American people hostage over a vanity project that he calls a wall.
The Senate is expected to vote on the president's plan this week. Meanwhile, House Democrats will vote on their own legislation to reopen the government without any wall funding.
If this carries on until February, March, it's going to be bad for everybody.
Nancy Anderson and about 800,000 other federal workers face a second missed paycheck this week. Many are relying on donations and food banks to survive.
When you're running out of food, you got to feed your family, and it's tough.
The TSA said 10% of screeners called in sick on Sunday, many due to financial limitations. Mark Liverman, CBS News.
Now, despite the spike in sick outs, the TSA is still getting flyers through airports. The agency said 99.9% of all passengers waited less than 30 minutes.
Well, with a federal prison in the county, owners of the Martin County IGA hope to ease some of the added stress of the shutdown. Around 60 years ago, Judith Ousley's father opened a grocery store. Since then, they have been finding ways to help their community. Now they are allowing federal employees to charge up to $150 each week until they get a paycheck.
And we're a family. We've always been here, and we've always tried to help in cases of emergency and stuff, and this is an emergency.
Both the Inez and Warfield IGAs are providing the charge accounts. If you would like to apply for one, we have information on how to do so on our website, WYMT.com.
Also in Martin County, the utility board is putting a hold on the accounts of any federal prison workers affected by the shutdown. This means as long as you are not getting your regularly scheduled paychecks, you can wait until you get paid to pay your bill. If you are a federal employee and would like to place a hold on your account, bring your photo ID and federal employee ID to their billing office.
Well, many people, as you just heard, they are stepping up to help the federal workers meet ends meet.
Indeed, they are. At last week, we told you Coach Calipari was given a grant to help furloughed employees through the shutdown. Now he is calling on Big Blue Nation to help those workers. More than 400 government employees live in Lexington. Coach Cal says the Calipari Foundation gave $250,000 in grants to the nonprofit organization REACH. That money went to giving cash or Kroger gift cards to workers. Now Cal says he is asking for more people to step up to help.
This is unusual times. Never heard of this before. Anytime I've asked the Big Blue Nation to be involved in stuff like this, Sandy, Haiti, Houston, you come through the woodwork.
Man, you gotta love him. The money donated will go to the 2019 Emergency Shutdown Government Relief Program through REACH. If you would like to donate, head on over to the CalipariFoundation.org.
In other political news this morning, Senator Kamala Harris says she is running for president in 2020. The California Democrat says she plans to fight what she sees as the injustices of the Trump presidency. She made the announcement on Good Morning America. Harris's campaign released a brief video on social media as well. Her official campaign kickoff will take place next Sunday in Oakland, which is where she was born.
Well, President Trump made a visit to the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial on the National Mall yesterday. President Trump laid a wreath at the foot of the memorial and made a few brief remarks. He was also joined by Vice President Mike Pence. The president also tweeted earlier in the day honoring Dr. King.
Meanwhile, here in Kentucky, marchers braved the cold air to show their support for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. In Pikeville, Big Sandy Community and Technical College celebrated the life of Dr. King through a solidarity march, followed by a celebration inside of a local church. Student Activity Coordinator Tina Terry says it is important for higher education to show its support for the movement.
That plays in with the college being embracing diversity, embracing culture, and embracing change, how we can come together as one in unity and still be together.
This is the third year for the event. Terry says she was happy to see more than 50 people participate in the celebration.
Well, Hazard Community and Technical College celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life at its annual breakfast. Guest speakers shared the impact his legacy had on their lives, and people honored his tradition by marching through downtown after the breakfast. Marchers say they celebrate progress made, but march because there are still steps untaken. Approximately 170 people attended the ceremony.
And in other news, there is a push for hate crime legislation in Indiana. That is one of the 5 states in the country without any sort of legislation like that. The FBI reports hate crimes have increased greatly during the past few years. That is why supporters say it's important to get the laws on the books.
So I think that, having something like this gives me the confidence to know that I have my community and my state behind me.
The state's governor, Eric Holcomb, says he supports the hate crime legislation as well.
Back to the bluegrass now, where a Kentucky lawmaker has proposed a bill to limit the penalties for marijuana possession. Republican Senator Jimmy Higdon introduced Senate Bill 82. It would make possession a prepayable non-criminal fine. Violators would face a $100 fine and 15 hours of community service. Community service would double along with a $250 fine for possession of marijuana on school property.
Well, back to some national news now. A 20-year-old man was shot and killed in a shooting at a mall in the Chicago suburbs yesterday. The Orland Park police say at about 6:45 yesterday evening, a man was shot in the center area of the mall's food court. The victim was taken to a nearby hospital where he died. Police are still searching for the shooter, and they believe whoever it was knew the victim. Police say they do believe it was an isolated incident. Make sure to stay with us. We will be right back after the break.